It's on. You got it?
Yeah, there we go. Okay. Who's staying? Who's going?
Everyone says to stand over here.
Okay. A 1? A 2? A 3? Hit
It's
it!
gone.
What?
It's gone on hand again.
Okay. Don't move the computer again.
Honest.
Oh. Hi, we're Team 2. Hi, we're Team 2, and we're talking about housing court case law in New York City. The housing court is a court of limited jurisdiction that exists to resolve landlord-tenant disputes within the New York City court system. But it doesn't like to talk about what it does. If we go to the housing court website, you will see, oh, for heaven's own sake. Yes, I want to continue. Well, locate the internet server, proxy server, we move on. That's supposed to be a picture of the New York City Housing Court website, which does not have the opinions of the court. So in order to deal with this, some people tried something. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Some people tried something. They tried to build their own database of this information, but due to technical problems, this section of TenantNet is closed. While the links below appear to lead to full-text summaries of housing court decisions, they will not reveal any information. We regret the inconvenience. So this stuff's not out there. Big problem because this affects real people who live in relatively marginal circumstances and crazy people who live on the Upper West Side and don't want to move. Next. So our solution is to come up with a free searchable database of housing court opinions. First, we've got to get the opinions, which is not so easy because they don't exist online. They may exist in digital form. We don't know. We're probably going to have to get them in print. But in order to do proof of concept today, we took the text from Lexis and Westlaw. That's not what it's supposed to be doing. So we wanted to add some metadata. What metadata do we need to add? First, we need to add county. Unlike most cities, which make up counties, New York City is itself made up of counties. There are 5 of them. They all have different courts, and those courts don't like to agree with each other necessarily. We wanted to be able to sort by judge, so you know what the judge in front of you might say, and we wanted to be able to do something different, something that's not usually in case law, which is to find cases by who won. We want to find cases by whether the landlord or the tenant won, and by whether the petitioner or the respondent won. Let's go to our database. Here's our database.
Okay, so
Housing court case law.
yes, so I shall do some searches here. So let's say the issue that you're facing is holdover. You'll see that we have in our database here 11 cases, and if you click view, you will be able to see the case and read the text of the case. Now let's say you're actually in the county of New York, so you want to search your holdover case, and you'll see that it's been knocked down to 8 results. Let's say you want to know if the tenant won in New York. And you'll see that that was 6 cases. And again, you can read each case if you want. If you want to see if the landlord won, it happened in 2 of them. Now just to show you that these other things work here. Kings. You've got 1 case of holdover. Let's say you're in Queens and you're facing Judge Harbinger. Well, in our database there are 2 in which Harbinger was the judge. And let's say you want to know if the tenant won, because you're going to face him. It was 1 of them. So right now this is the limit of our database for the time that we had and the amount of time that it took to create the data. We'd like to make this mobile optimized for Android phones because poor people don't use Apple products, generally speaking. So it has to work first for Android and second for iPhone. Anything else?
Just to show you how important that distinction is between Android and iPhone, this is a heat map of New York City. Red is iPhone, green is Android. This is where the rich people are, that's Kennedy Airport. This is where the poor people are. It's got to be on Android or there's no point. If you really want to see something amazing, look at the one for Chicago. Thank you.
Any questions for them?
How did you find out who won that particular case? Was that part of the metadata or was it something?
No, that's one of the problems with this project is going to be the absolute necessity of human intervention. We're going to need humans to gather the data. We are going to need humans in the sense that I mean coding to code the data according to those things. Those are long-term goals. Just getting the information itself, we think, would be a major public service, both to attorneys and to the public.
Do you foresee this as a law school project where the students are the ones acquiring and coding the data?
We'll take any gatherers and coders we can get. This is really vitally necessary, but it regards the interests of poor people. So there's nobody out. So unlike securities law, there's nobody out there who's going to invest the amount of money that's needed to get it. This data is available from one source, and it's literally a guy who runs it out of his garage, charges the earth, and doesn't do a very good job of putting it in books. It's a thing we've been wanting to do for a very long time.
On the search, were you guys tagging stuff in the terms or was it just full text search?
Right now it's full text search. There's logic in the search for the different conditions. But like for the judges, for example, we hadn't coded in like a box just for the judge. But that's something that we would do.
And we had this future thing of linking them. So like if you see one of the cases and you want to read more relevant ones, so then you'll have a list of like similar cases and what happened.
That's
It
right.
said in the data that you're getting put in there, it says at some point who the winner is, right? It'll say like winner or like.
No, you have to read the case and read the judgment. The judge says
It's
like.
not like clear where the judgment is.
The judge will say like, I find for the plaintiff, right, or the.
Yeah, but sometimes it's more complicated because one of the things we had was a counter motion by one of the 15 cases was a motion. The matter being decided was a motion by the respondent against the petitioner. So the petitioner lost the motion as petitioner, as movant, and lost the case as respondent. So it requires. I don't see how you get out of human intervention on this, but that is really a long-term goal. Gathering the data and making it searchable is the first order goal.
I mean, I don't think that.
I'm sorry?
I don't like. I mean, if you're interested in this.
Yeah, I'd love to. That would interest me greatly.
Is your goal audience, your target audience, the actual people who would be filing the claims or the lawyers that they would go to? The reason I ask is you're showing full cases. That's not necessarily helpful to someone off the street trying to find out what they're looking at.
The answer is so much of this is done pro se. Maybe as a long-term goal, summaries, but I think that the outcome for a summary, for a pro se petitioner going in and saying, but here's what the summary says, is going to go very poorly with the judge, because even in housing court or the other New York City specialty minor jurisdiction courts, let's call them, because limited jurisdiction courts, there's not as much empathy from the bench for the people who don't really know what's going on as one might hope. So I think we might want to add summaries at some point, but I think we have to make the actual text of the cases available.
especially since they're so inaccessible at this point.
Yeah, but just to go back to that, are you guys thinking of the audience as the actual or the lawyers?
I think it's both. I think in a perfect world, we would have sort of two versions of it. One for desktop, one that we would have it set up so that it recognizes whether you're coming from a desktop or a phone. And if you were coming from a desktop, you might get a slightly different cut of the data than you might if you were coming from a phone. Our theory is that the people who really need, that it's a service to the bar because the stuff's so inaccessible, but it's mostly a service to the public who will access it through phones.
Are you eventually thinking about putting a citator or a format citator where you just have a citation?
Yes, we talked about that. That's going to be another really big technical lift. We couldn't figure out a way to do it quickly today, but we were having a lot of conversations about can we make the interface recognize a reporter name and provide a citator list? Can we link out to freely available sources of case law so people can get the appellate level cases if they want to? That's all very much within the architecture that we're contemplating.
Once you get it within your own system, if you give each case a particular citation, you might be able to find a way to do it. The stats case started annotating their statutes that way.
Yeah. Again, that's a thing we really want to be able to do, but that's, again, even a quick and dirty searchable database it's not going to be so quick and it's going to be very dirty, but it's going to expand the availability of this information multiple thousandfold.
I actually worked in a New York City civil court.
Yeah.
And judges need access to that information really quickly. And the person you're referring to is Trimans or Tremans.
Mm-hmm.
His books were not very good in terms of locating the material quick enough. I worked with the law librarian for the judges in the civil court. And they really need something like that to get the information. In addition to the attorneys who practice in landlord tenant law.
Yeah.
So it's definitely something that's valid and needed in the legal community in New York.
And because most of us are affiliated with Fordham, except Leanne, who's participating out of the goodness of her heart and the desire to build good code, and since she's a college student food, the fact that we're from Fordham means we have a place we can put it, and the scope of the project itself is the barrier, but we'll have a place to put it pretty much for all time. As there's a lot of things are going to have to go wrong before Fordham's not able to put this information on the internet on an ongoing basis, which is one of the major reasons we want to do it.
So the main problem is basically getting this information or tagging and processing and analyzing the information?
Getting it.
I'd say getting it's a bigger problem because we just don't even know what's available digitally.
And even documents that could possibly be available physically are going to take a long time to get in the New York City system. Some of these records might be in cold storage up in Albany or somewhere else in the state, and the records offices might not even know where they are.
So is what you did here to get the data roughly available?
Yes, but we were able to get these from Westlaw and Lexis, who obviously have no copyright in the actual text, and if all we use is the actual text, we feel like we're in pretty good shape. But that represents a small and recent universe of the necessary cases. So the data acquisition is a really tough piece of this.
So if you're able to start with that universe and just start with a limited set of data, is that useful to the users, or does it need to be more about that?
I think there's so little out there, anything we do is useful, but I don't think we would want to phrase it, I guess we don't say go to market in this context, but we wouldn't want to put it out there, make it publicly available until it had gotten fairly robust.
Yeah, because you don't want people to think that that's all there is, or this is really authoritative if they're missing.
And a lot of it is sort of an institutional litigant problem, much like, you know, many of us have been through the unpublished opinion wars, where the IRS knew exactly what the tax cases said and the taxpayers had no idea. You know, if you're going up against the housing authority, if you're going up against one of these landlords who works through 200 different LLCs, they have a body of institutional knowledge, and doing anything to balance out the scales has value. But again, we don't want to be in a situation where we're giving just enough information to get you in trouble.
At Fordham, I think we're really determined to make this happen. So if it means applying for grants so that we can access the data, I mean, we're going to do it. So the fact that we actually have something that works now is a really big starting point for us. But the technology is, you know, largely taken care of that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.